which I've made just since meeting you guys, probably an additional $30,000 just since meeting you. And
Say that number one more time for the people in the back.
at least $30,000. We probably have another 1.6 million that I need to follow up on, just from a current book.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Annuity Fundamentals. I'm your host, Kylie Malat, joined by our co-host, the one and only Mr. Ryan Anderson. And today we are joined by a very special guest. He was in our class at Annuity Fundamentals, the one and only Mr. Collin Bingham. So Collin, thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited to have you.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, you guys. Excited.
Now, you not only were in our class, but you came to one of our training events we had in Boise, Idaho, for kind of the Idaho area.
Yep.
And you also, a little bit more about your background, you've been in the business for about 5 years. And in that period of time, you've had kind of a storied career. You started as an LOA agent with a local agency, and you did really well with Medicare. You broke off, and you and a couple of partners started Ready, Set, Retire that's focused in southeastern Idaho.
Yep.
And you've got a large Medicare base there. And just to kind of give some background, I was in eastern Idaho and working with another agent, and she was a financial advisor and annuity specialist, and we were having some seminars, and she was coming from Utah, and I said, hey, if we're going to be doing this in Idaho in that area, we need a local person. Go out and find a local Medicare agent that we can bring in, because there's going to be a Medicare need. I'm not driving that way for Medicare. You're not, and we have to make sure we take care of everybody. So we came in, and we had this couple of dinner events. You saw the presentation on the annuities and the financial services, and I think you got a lot of Medicare out of that, if I remember right.
Yes, I did. But I also saw how much annuities you guys were writing too, and I was like, you guys are over here picking up $100 bills and I'm picking up pennies. Not that I don't like Medicare. I love Medicare and I will always do Medicare. But yeah, seeing what you guys were doing made me ask a couple questions. And we were out back after you guys were doing the presentation, and I was like, hey, can I get in on this with you guys? Or, or am I just going to be doing Medicare for the rest of my life?
Well, the thing about Medicare is it's fantastic, it's wonderful, and those residuals, those ongoing, the renewals are where the magic is. Yep. But the wealth comes from the annuities coupled with the Medicare piece. So go ahead and I want to set the stage here. I want people to know a little bit about yourself. And as people are hearing this, I want to be able to them to see themselves in you, and just to kind of, all right, where you're at now, kind of talk about the size of your book, talk about the make of your book, because I think that's important, especially when we talk about how we're now partnering together, and you've come to our program. I've come out and visited with you. We're running seminars together. In fact, we've got a seminar next week, if I'm not mistaken, which is just going gangbusters, and I'll talk about that here. But anyway, so go ahead and take us. Let's know a little bit more about you there, sir.
I grew up just west of a little town called Blackfoot. There's a population of like 250 people out there, half of which are my relatives. And so, yeah, I grew up in a little town called Tabor, went to Snake River High School, did basically everything that involved physical activity out there, minus wrestling. I don't like I don't like wrestling, but did basically everything else. And then grew up on a farm out there, and then after I served a mission for my church, I came back and got into sales, and realized after talking with a couple people in sales industry that insurance is the place to be, and that you can do some stuff that's pretty awesome in the insurance industry. And so I started out on my own. I was working for a big company that I won't name, but it was basically just buy leads and you have no training and go and do it. And I failed real quick doing out that way, and then I found a local agency here in town that my good buddy worked at and started doing Medicare instead of life insurance, and built a book of over 1,000 clients in a little over 2 years. So we were doing quite a bit of business that way. And then after a little bit of time, I realized, why am I building this other person's wealth instead of my own? And decided to start my own company with my buddy and my brother, which is Ready, Set, Retire. But in that time, I guess another reason, well, I guess you guys know Cody Askins. I was on his, I guess, competition show, The Ultimate Agent. Took second, which I'm still bummed about. It was good. I mean, I hadn't sold life insurance in, who knows, 3 years. And so to take second and write, close to $20,000 in AP in 4 days was pretty good, but I just hate losing. But anyways, still focused on Medicare. Have grown that book pretty well, but it's mainly DSNP. So for those that don't know what DSNP is, it's for those who have both Medicare and Medicaid, so low income, which it's a very, it's a demographic that needs a lot of help. And so I love helping them, but as far as cross-selling opportunities, there's not many. And so I was able to meet Ryan and Kylie and their associates, and we're starting to do some seminars that we've had some success with, and have another seminar on Wednesday that we have, 86 people registered for?
It's absurd. It's something like that. I'm sitting here, I was looking at it here, and I think it's 86 people with like 61 different households, or
it's humongous.
Whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, dang. And I'm sitting here, and then we've got two, one of them at 3:00 and one of them at 6:00 at the library, so we don't even have to spring for dinner. And just a shout out to the folks over at leadshop.org who filled the room for us, did an amazing job with that. Leadshop.org. If you need to fill a seminar, that's the place to go. But so I'm really excited about that we've done a couple of dinner ones out there. And now Collin is wonderful in the fact that it's like, hey, I've got this new idea. I want to experiment with it, but I need a kind of a town that's an island out into itself, and I need an agent with an open mind. You willing to do this with me? I can't promise you anything except a bill at the end of the night. And he got a bill at the end of the night, and we actually learned a lot, and we are getting some moving forward with some stuff from that. But this it is just a great time. I'm really excited about this upcoming event. We're going to be working on estate planning and that kind of a thing. But one of the things about it is that you've got a great process where you're at. To get 1,000 clients in 2 years as a brand new agent is exceptional. We just had a gentleman on here a little bit earlier episode. His name's Aaron Flake, #1 agent in the state of Idaho for Blue Cross last year. He got 460 or 440 new Blue Cross enrollments, and he's working in a much larger market than you are. But still, and the size of the market you were in for 1,000 clients in 2 years, that's got game. Now, one of the reasons why, now with such a large DSNP portion of your portfolio, wasn't that one of the motivators for you wanting to get into annuities and some of the other larger process because of that? What are some of the concerns you've had with just a book that's so heavy in DSNP? Have you had any possible negative experiences recently with having a book that's so heavily on that demographic?
Absolutely. I mean, majority of my book, like what Aaron had, was with Blue Cross. And the negative thing is Blue Cross just lost their state contract with Medicaid. So now every person, every client, every DSNP client that has Blue Cross, now we will have to find a different plan for by May 30th. And so it's a very volatile book, I guess. Like if you don't have a good CRM, or if you're not good at following up, your retention rate can be garbage. But also if it's something like this to where a carrier that it has a good plan, that's a good carrier, loses the contract, you're now stuck having basically a second open enrollment for the first quarter of the year. So yeah, that's not a good thing to have. And it's just one of those things that I want to diversify, because if you get stuck with one thing and that one thing goes away, I mean, what do you have to fall back on? And so for me, at least, I like to diversify what I'm doing so that if one thing goes down, I can have the skills and the knowledge necessary to keep paying the bills. So
So, Colin, you said something that kind of made me laugh. You said, yeah, you guys were picking up $100 bills and I was picking up pennies.
Yep.
Isn't that kind of just how it works? I remember like writing Medicare and it was like, yeah, this is fun. And then you get that first annuity check and you're like,
Way
I may be
more fun.
fine, but the money
Wait a
makes me
minute.
handsomer. You know what I mean? Like that feels good, you know? And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is how I see longevity here. And I remember you came into the class and you said something that just was like, right? You said, I can't believe how much money I've left on the table by just not asking a few of these questions. So you took our class and you were at the live event in Boise and you've worked with Ryan. What are your biggest takeaways? What is something that you're going to be like, oh, I am from now on, this is a part of my system? Like what was your aha moment?
Everything. But to give some specific, at least for me, I mean, I'm grateful for the guy that I worked for, even though I'm no longer at the agency. Like I learned some things there, but the one thing that sets you guys apart from everybody else that I've worked with, and I've worked with a lot of different places, is your guys' system and process. That you can go in, and here, let me see, I won't mess with it, but I have the folders that I now use that I did not use, that every time I talk with a client, I'm going through the same exact thing every single time, not just to one, have a good system that I know I can follow, but two, open up every cross-selling opportunity with the things that I have, which is, Medicare, life insurance, estate planning, and retirement planning, which I've made just since meeting you guys, probably an additional $30,000 just since meeting you. And
Say that number one more time for the people in the back.
at least $30,000.
And what did you do differently to make that extra $30,000?
I talked to my current clients.
There we go.
Isn't that amazing?
Can you imagine what that feels like talking to your current clients and what? You asked them a few more questions?
Yeah. And that was with the people that I knew that weren't D-SNPs. I mean, we're still waiting on, we probably have another 1.6 million that I need to follow up on, just from a current book, that all it was, hey, when I'm doing your Medicare review, I don't know if you knew this, and it's my fault for not telling you, but I help people in 4 core areas of retirement. Obviously, the first is Medicare. That's why we're meeting. And then I go through the whole spiel that I learned in your guys' class. And it's like, yeah, actually, I've been meaning to talk to somebody about that. I didn't know you did that. And then I'm getting 2 big life insurance policies and then an annuity. And it's just stuff like that. And wills and trusts. I don't know how many wills and trusts I've written just from that. So
Yeah. Well, I want to do some quick math here. I'm not texting on my phone when I grabbed it just now. $1.6 million times 6.5% is $104,000 in comp if we close that whole thing.
Yep. Which is a high possibility that we will.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And the thing about it is, as we're going through and we are doing that, and I want to clarify something for that. It was funny because I remember after that first seminar you came to, we held it at a local steakhouse, and I mean, we had more people show up than we were expecting, and we didn't even have enough seats for them. We had to put chairs in the back, and it was like a semi-private room, which we were told was private. There was a lot of things stacked against us, and we were in there like sardines, and we pitched it. We did the whole thing. We did the event, and there's something unique about that event that I've never had happen before or since, and that was we booked 100% of the people there that wanted appointments with us. And from that event, and we just kept track of it, we did $1.2 million in annuities from that one night. Again, one of the best nights, and I was sitting there thinking, I was telling you, I was like, okay, don't base future experience off of this. There are so many flukes with this thing here. We had 30 people there, $1 million plus in business, and on and on. The other agent that was there is like, this is the greatest thing ever. Like, okay, everybody slow your roll. There are good days and bad days. This is an exceptional day.
I was so mad when you guys told me all that.
Oh, you should. Ryan's playing coy, like, "Hey, don't get your hopes up." But he came into the office doing the moonwalk. Like, dude, that was.
Yeah.
When you have something like that, that is something to celebrate, because if you've ever done a workshop, I've done dozens. Never once have I booked 100% of people. And Ryan was like, "I just booked 100% of people. I don't know how it happened." Just kidding, but that's an exciting start, no doubt about it.
Yeah, but the thing about it, so as we're going from that, the other piece to this is, how does it, looking at your business now, so you went through our process, and the class teaches 3 key things, and we talk about this all the time. The key 3, and that is how to properly introduce yourself, how to go through and do a proper fact finder, and then how to get the annuity opportunities. And we always say that you're right here, it's like the old James Clear, just 1% change. That's all we're looking for from that class. Now, with that, I want, and I now I've not prepped him for this, so I have no idea what's about to come out of his mouth, but I really do want an honest answer here from you. When you came into the class, and you had a little bit of experience with this already, so that's kind of you're biased, I'm sure. It's like, oh, these guys know how to do what they're doing, which we do. But when we said you're going to learn 3 things: how to properly introduce yourself, how to do a fact finder, and how to do a tee-up, what was your initial process when we said it's going to take 6 weeks to learn that?
I mean, to take 6 weeks to learn it, if you're actually, I mean, your guys' process in the class, it was perfect. At least it was for me, because you have the homework that if you do it, it really doesn't take as long as you guys say it should. So at least it didn't for me. It was just like, hey, I just need to study this, write it out, and then that's really about it. But yeah, for 6 weeks of hopping on, how long are the classes? 2 hours once a week?
2 hours, yeah.
2 hours once a week. I mean, for me to do that early in the morning, and if anybody says that they can't do it, 1, you're probably lying to yourself, or 2, you really are busy, but make the time to do this so that you can quadruple your business anyways, unless you already have a great system. But I'm telling you, at least for me, I've been to a lot of different seminars, and I've watched a bunch of YouTube videos and stuff to how to pitch things, and I've been in sales for 8 years now, and your guys' process is by far, at least for me, the best that I've ever been a part of. And so the 6-week course is something that I will always be grateful for, because it changed what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And how much more money I'm going to make from it, I don't know, but I know it will be a lot more than what I was and what I would have without it.
Collin, what I appreciate about you is your ambition. And we tell I'm sure you remember me saying it, and I've said it in so many podcasts. I'm sure the audience is tired, but I would say if this is the last time we talk, it's a mistake. Working together, having you work with Ryan, and just putting more time under your belt, and having more language, and just being around people who are in the industry is everything. Yeah. I mean, if you're not surrounding yourself with the right people at the right time, you can stay stagnant pretty easy. And so you get out what you put in. And I can see that you were different in the class. Even in the class, everyone would leave, and Ryan and I would debrief. How did that go? How do you think today went? Let's follow up with these people. I don't know, just debrief. And each time it was like, oh, Collin, he's different. He gets it. He's a go-getter. And it was just because you did the buy-in. And I'm not even talking about into the system, but you bought into yourself, and that was evident. It was evident that you came into the class saying, I know my capabilities, and I know where I want to be, and I'm doing things right now that aren't getting me there, and so I'm going to change. And I know when you got into that class, you were all in, and those people who come to the class and they aren't all in, it really does blow my mind, because the system changed my life. The system changed Ryan's life, so we believe in it. I wrote $1 million my first year by following the system. right? And when you come in and you're humble, for one, right? Humble and teachable, that goes a long way. And you were both of those things. And it has been so fun to sit back now and have you work with Ryan and see you flourish. But it all started with the buy-in. And if I could say, even when I saw you in Boise as well, did you bring your mom, right? Your mom was there too?
I did. Yeah. My mom was there.
She's rad. I liked her a lot. And it just showed your ambition. And I think there's a lot of agents out there who talk the talk, but when it comes to walking the walk, I think you're right. They lie to themselves. Oh, I don't need it. Oh, I don't have the time. Make the time. If Collin wouldn't have made the time, would he have made that $30,000 extra last year? Probably not, right? So it's talking about opportunity. So moving forward, Collin, what would you say is going to be your biggest change coming 2025?
Well, thank you for those nice compliments too. I mean, that was really nice of you. But the one thing that I do plan on changing for 2025, I've talked to Ryan about it, is doing these seminars with you guys. I would like to do at least one a month. It's something that I have the bandwidth right now to do. I know there's people who can do more. I know there's people who will do less. But it's like what you guys have said is all you need to do is just make a 1 degree change and your business can skyrocket. And so, and one thing that I want to thank you guys for as well is, yes, I bought into your guys' system. I've never done anything, and you can ask my wife this. I am either all in or I am all out of something. And it's that way in conversations. It's a good thing and a bad thing. Like, it is very obvious if I am disinterested in something, I'm like not even here. But if I am all in on something, I am all in. And so seeing you guys and knowing the type of people you are, one, it's easy to see how good of people you are, and I like to align myself with good, trustworthy human beings. And so it was easy for me to go all in. And there's, conversations that I've had with Ryan that there's, with these Medicare changes, that he's alleviated a big burden on me too, of just like, hey, look, I know you have a lot going on with Medicare and not losing your book, because I do have a lot of clients that I will now need to move. He said, let me take on a lot of the burden on this seminar that we're going to be doing. And that was huge to me. That partnering with you guys has been amazing. But yeah, the one thing that I'm going to change is working more with you guys. And I'm not getting paid to say any of this. Like, I don't want this to just be a brag on Annuity Fundamentals, but it really is. Like, I really, and I told that to my wife, like, hey, look, like, I want to work more with these guys. These are the people that I want to be working with, because they're at where I want to be.
Wow.
Well, thank you so much. That was nice. Collin, thank you so much. We're running short on time here, but I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. A lot of people we invite to visit us at annuityfundamentals.com and book an exploratory phone call to change their lives. And sometimes people do and sometimes people don't. So hopefully if you're listening to this and you resonate with Collin and you're like, hey, I like this guy. I can find similarities in his story, and if he can do it, I want to give it a go.
If I can do it, anybody can do it. Trust me.
That's why it's a beautiful thing about a system, right? As long as you plug in and you buy in, we take. You have your personality too, so don't cut yourself too short. You're a charming guy, and so that does help getting into the home. But as long as you buy into a system and you do something that you believe in, I think that is the key to be successful in this business. You really have to believe in what you do, but more importantly, you have to believe in yourself and your ability to do it. So, Collin, thank you so much for joining us. We had a ton of fun in class. I'm so glad we're continuing to work together. So take Collin's advice. He did not stop talking to us, right? Nope. The 6 weeks was over. He got on the phone, he got on his email, and we have stayed in contact since, and he is flourishing. Not to say that we are the reason, right? But support is everything in this business. And Annuity Fundamentals, we are here to support you. We want you to succeed. Your success is our success. And so I appreciate you being on, Collin. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for tuning in to Annuity Fundamentals. Book a call with us. Let you be the next Collin Bingham, right? Let's do it. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.